Okay, so it's 2020. Uh, Yesterday, apparently, here's my latest theory. I think the Russians are trying to frame Trump for blowing up the general in Iran, but that's just what I'm thinking. But Fox News gave credit to Trump for hitting that Iranian general with a missile. Now, as far as I know, there was no congressional approval, and history tells us that leaders that work without the correct means of government are both treasonous and trying to get reelected. It's like the G8 golf course gift at the Trump golf place, which he's going to take over as CEO contractually, which is a public contract. You can go look it up after he, either wins the next election or doesn't. Because the Senate's Republican, which means they probably won't impeach him. But technically, Congress is the one that declares war. But blowing up a foreign general is typically a sign that they're trying to cause war. Now, keep in mind, when they're trying to cause war, it's typically one of two reasons. It's a legitimate war, or the people in power are trying to stay in power. Right now, the Republicans control the Senate, the Democrats control the House, and Trump didn't get either one of their approval to hit that general with a missile in Iran. That happened yesterday, according to Fox News, and I didn't verify it through any other news source. So, the other theory I got, like I said, is that Putin did it because of the Syrian situation where Russia's on one side backing Assad, and we're on the other side. So what they're trying to do is create a two-theater war in Syria and Iran. And then there was the embassy attack done by some weird faction in Iraq at the U.S. Embassy. So that would make it a three-theater war. Now, this is the part that'll blow your mind. The Vatican controls everything south of the Texas border, all the way down to the very tip of South America. All that between south of the border and the tip of South America is all Vatican-controlled area. Now, this will blow your mind, too. If y'all overlay the 2010 census map with over the high percentage, or the over 15% of one religion, that only happens when the Vatican occupies an area, and that's the urban areas. If you overlay the 2010 census according to the high population of Vatican, i.e. Catholic, you will find that in the 2012 and 2016 elections, that those areas voted Democrat. So the Vatican is Democratic, as far as I know. Now keep in mind, the Vatican created Hitler, Mussolini, and enticed Japan to attack Pearl Harbor. Weird, right? And both the Vatican and Mecca were pro-Palestine, anti-Israel. So that makes the Middle East shit weird. I'm American. I'm an isolationist. I don't believe we need exterior influence. We have all the resources, the food, the energy. Since it's perpetual, if you go on YouTube, you will see 1,000 perpetual energy videos. Everything from mechanical marble systems all the way up to, strapping in your carburetor to create step up voltage and amperage, which is what the electrical grid is maintained with, which is why I don't know they don't, why since it's already running, like, why don't they just step up the voltage in one place and the amperage at the other? Keep the system going, or like make a splitter, one that bumps the amperage here and bumps the amperage there, or the amperage and the volts. But like they can magnify ohmage, you know what I'm saying? So like coal, all those dirty energies, coal we don't need, oil we don't need. We can get all of those resources from breaking down plant mass. So like after we harvest the wheat, the corn, the fruit, and all that other crap, the crap that we waste, you know, that we don't use for paper, to print money that's devalued by both oil, international business, and tithing to the Pope. Like, we quit doing all that. Our money's worth something. Theoretically. Don't go with the Amero. It's silver backed and like they're just, you know, it's trying to make it Euro or Asia or South America or Africa. Like, it's all weird, you know, feudal government silver systems, like Roman ideals and shit. But like out of date crap, you know. Anyways, there's all this crap going on today. It's only like the third or fourth day of the year. I'll verify for you. It is the third day of the year, 2020, January 3rd. And 2020 is like a big occult thing because two round 2020s in my calendar is a 20 count. And they just figured out it was like a trillion year calendar predicated on galactic age. So the 2012 thing was a bust. And anyways, they caught the Vatican chasing and handing out eggs predicated on how much you tithe. And that's just, you know, organized child rape when that's ties to the Vatican, making that a part of their warfare. The Vatican is enticing people to marry out of their faith, so that if they marry somebody that's out of their faith and the people that are out of the faith don't convert, they just divorce and get back with somebody that they had feudal sexual rights with previously. And like prohibition, both alcoholic and marijuana. Like, we're just land grabs, property grabs, and all this other crap. Like, we need to return all that shit. We gotta get people their reparations. Like, there's a lot of stuff we gotta do. Because it's the correct thing to do. And all that shit's more important than starting a fucking world war. Let me explain the Middle Eastern thing. You have the Shiite and the Shiite and the Sunni Muslims, which are paying homage to Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia. We get a lot of oil from Saudi Arabia and Iraq. But Assad is a Shiite. The Sunni population of Iraq was the Ba'athist party of was a sect of Sunnis installed by Saudi Arabia or Mecca, like related to descendants of Muhammad, which is the Sunni faith, saying that, you know, the king should be descendants of Muhammad. The Shiites are like, well, no, that's idolatry according to what Muhammad said in the book. And, you know, but Assad's Shiite, and he was gassing the Sunnis, and Saddam Hussein it was Sunni gassing the Shiites, and this attack on the embassy is like a democratic attack by the Iraqis on the United States. And apparently we didn't build a base there. It's a goddamn shame. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But Apparently, this attack that blew up the general was either Russia trying to frame Trump or Trump doing something without Congress's approval. It was like the only two logical options. But keep in mind, like, all these foreign governments do invest in American politics through international business via the stock systems. And this has been happening since the dawn of mankind. Like, during the Civil War, the Vatican and Mecca were both slave trading cultures. Swiss Guard were like pirates and fucking, they moved slaves. All the Nordic people were pro-slavery. Portugal was pro-slavery. Spain was pro-slavery. The Magna Carta didn't apply to anything other than the island of Britain. Probably not Ireland or Scotland at the time. So, like, Washington went over there and was like, oh, well, how about we make everybody free everywhere in the colonies? And then he had to fight his way back to America, and that's how the Revolutionary War started. And then the plantation owners in the Revolutionary War didn't want to add the Ten Commandments because that would free all the slaves to the Constitution, which was Washington's version. And we're trying to make Washington look like a bad guy, but he inherited a couple slaves. He bought a couple slaves, but he trained them like generals. Lincoln got shot by a Confederate Vatican spy who was from the French colony that we purchased from the French called Louisiana Purchase. And then we got Texas, Florida, and California, Arizona, New Mexico from the Spaniards, because they were ship-faring slave traders, and everything south of the Texas border is pretty much Vatican-controlled. I'm American, so none of this shit makes sense to me, but this is the factual way I'm understanding it, so... What to do? I maintain the ideals. Here are the big ideas that I have. Convert all the vehicles to electric, because electrics give us more horsepower, faster, more efficient braking, and digital interaction. Make sure you put a little Jeep light bulb in all the electric vehicles, so if it EMPs, all we got to do is strap in, good old fashioned Alexander Graham Bell light bulb, because it's like a fuse, the light goes out and then we lose the electricity, and then we just pull out a 6-pack of regular light bulbs, not the efficient ones that cost 180,000 times the amount of effort to make, but like the old-fashioned light bulbs. And put those in the electric cars. Use all the plant byproducts that we don't use to manufacture synthetic oil, like the ethanol, E85 or 87. All it would take is like little E87, E89, and everybody be happy. We could use that for lubrication purposes, because by then we'll be, running electric. Don't trust Elon Musk. Sounds like a sweet name. And it's not the system I would use personally. And don't let NASA FTL the atmosphere way, because the Nazi spies are trying to destroy everything because they're suicidal, gay, nerd things. I myself am a nerd, but I'm straight. I'm celibate, commandment adhering, Jewish, came from Protestant background. I know Jesus was the Son of God, but that, something about the Torah just more appealing. I don't know what it is. I'm not trying to tell y'all what to do. Just do your own thing. We have freedom of religion. Try to get along with your neighbors, whether rich or poor. Help them if you can. The Republican Party is the billionaire party. The Democratic Party is the millionaire party. Neither one of them know what constitutional law is, or else they'd acknowledge Hillary Clinton as the vice president. We used to elect the vice president separate from the president on two separate tickets, or not two separate tickets, but one, like on the ballot, it would be two separate elections. Kind of like local, whatever. I don't believe in local state governments. I believe they're all lobbyists, local bribery, as in law or low, lobby, L-O, local, BBY, bribery. But there's just too much goddamn weird shit going on. I'm afraid to look at the news, see what kind of horrible reports I see. The Vatican limited the children's population in China down to 1 because they were trying to make an invasion there religiously, and they're probably trying to do the same thing with India and shit. These are all horrors to me. Like, I can't think of what's worse. The state and local governments aren't paying up to federal taxes, which means military brats can't get educated. Like, the state and local government's trying to send military brats to Catholic school. Like, how much sense does it make, like, taking actual federal budget money for education and giving it to the Pope just directly? Same thing with medical. Like, the Vatican's forward mass units for their FEMA Holocaust. Like, all that shit. Like, think about it. Like, why would a foreign country called the Vatican, what is people called the Catholics, citizens of the Vatican, like, would you let Osama bin Laden's family, you know, the bin Laden oil group that runs Mecca and Saudi Arabia in the Middle East, like all their feudal systems that chooses how many wives it can have and all that shit, like, if we had a whole bunch of, like, bin Laden hospitals up here, would y'all detest that? I would. But if the Pope does it, the Pope created Hitler. Like, everything with a saint on it might as well just be swastika St. Joseph's or swastika St. Luke's. You know what I'm saying? They're anti-Semitic, like anti-Protestant. And we founded this country predicated on conservative Protestant views and religious toleration and all this crap. And they're fucking witches, vampires, polygamists. They're all fucking running around, they're swingers and shit. Makes me sick to my goddamn stomach how many evil pieces of shit there are. It seems like they're invading us, right? They legalized gay marriage. Isn't that why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah? Maybe Gomorrah was hyper violent and Sodom was just weird polygamous gay shit. I don't know, man. Like I'm a conservative, isolationist, American, manifest destiny hopeful, non-manifest colonialist or manifest business conglomerate. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have all the resources we need here. Now, if we, want to get some clothes from a foreign country or something, like, hit it with a tariff. Like, quit taxing the fucking food. Quit taxing employment. Because think about it. Like, how many times is food and employment tax, right? They tax the fucking farmer. They tax his fucking land. They tax his property, his equipment. All this shit. Which is all duplicative at the state and local levels. And then the state and locals don't pay it up to the federal. So, like, how are we supposed to get an accurate budget account? Now, after he sells his crop, let's say it's wheat, You know, it's taxed when the wheat is sold wholesale, whole grain, and then it's taxed when it's made into bread whole grain, and then when it's bleached, or when it's made into flour and then bleached, and like at every level, like it's taxed by the state and locals. Probably the federal government too, because the ownership property bullshit. Like, think about this. This is all duplicative, repetitive tax bullshit. And we fought the goddamn Confederacy, and like we still arguing that states have rights. Like, we a country, not a group of fucking states, man. They can't even, like, what is a country? What is a country? Country. What is that? Without the R. It's a county. Exactly. It's just motherfuckers that don't pay up to the federal system. Like, how can you be an American and not be a federalist? If you're not a fucking federalist, then you're a confederalist. See what I'm saying? Or confederacy. So that's all the state and the local governments are. They be stealing. I mean, I sit here and look at the stamps on my cigarette package, and like, states and cities put taxes on fucking cigarettes. You know the ATF can arrest the state and local authorities that do that, because Congress passes it concerning the entire country. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't they bust them? Fucking disturbs me. Like, all these duplicative taxes. Like, you pay your property sales tax, right? What's this state and local shit? Like the security protocol needs to be upgraded by the military concerning energy and water sources. Like, we need that protected by the freaking army, or maybe they make the Navy responsible for the water, because I suspect the Navy knows something about water. And then make the army responsible for the electricity. And then don't charge people for it, because, Jesus, I mean, serious. Like, these people are stealing from the federal system. Like, why the fuck should they get a penny? You know? Like, fill in the potholes. Make the cops walk the beat. They don't all need fucking vehicles and shit, do they? Or they're too goddamn lazy to go out and, like, shovel snow for old ladies and shit. Yeah, they probably are. And they probably cracker racists. Them cops I ain't mad at are like ex-military. The rest of them just a bunch of fucking pogues that are afraid to go to war. But keep in mind, they're trying to install the draft as soon as they start this World Wars thing. And, like, it's not even Congress doing it. It's just, like, foreign business. Like, the Bin Laden oil group's like, oh, shit, if they start World War, we're going to be making bank off the fucking oil and the gas and shit. The Vatican's like, we'll be making bank off the hospital bills and pills and shit. Like, the Vatican's the fucking biggest drug dealer in the world, man. Like the Pope is. All he does is distribute LSD, cocaine, and heroin and versions of that shit. Alright. That's pretty much that for now. God love you. God bless America. And try to convince your local and state governments to pay up to the federal system, because if they don't, well, they'll just defect like the Confederacy always does. So, God bless the actual United States of America. And those of you that are betraying us, fuck you, and burn in hell for eternity. Like, nobody betrays a place where they grew up for any reason. Just that's stupid. Who's gonna love you better than America? Nobody.